Can you please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Phil Starr. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very unusually, I've just been in the pub down the road. And, no, just as I walked in the door, you know, you do like to be kind to people that are on their own, and there was this very handsome-looking young boy sat at a table, all on his own, looking terribly depressed. So I sort of popped up to him and I said, you're looking very sort of down in the mouth. He said, I'm terribly lonely. So I said, well, will you have a drink? He said, I'll have a double brandy. I said, no wonder you're fucking lonely. I thought, what's a drink, you know? So I bought him a drink. I said, perhaps, you know, when you've had your drink, you'd like to come round to my place and listen to some records. He said, suppose I don't like the records. I said, you can always get dressed and piss off home, can't you? Do you know, it was most unusual, though, because while I was stood at the bar, because obviously he'd gone by then, and a nun walked in. And I thought, you don't often see nuns in public house. I thought, she's collecting. She went straight up to the bar and she said to the barman, do you think I could have a double gin, please? So he gave her the double gin and she knocked it straight back. She said, I think I'll have a refill. Well, by the time she'd had 14, I was curious. So I said, excuse me, Mary Magdalene. I said, it's very unusual to see a lady of your calling knocking back those gins like you've been. Oh, she said, they're for medicinal purposes. They're for the Mother Superior's constipation. I said, but you're swigging them back. She said, oh, I know. She said, when she sees me, she's going to shit herself. You know, there's a very nice little Irish fella stood at the bar. We got chatting and he said, excuse me a moment. He said, I'm just going to go over to that girl on her own and see if I can buy her a drink. So he went over to the tables, this girl sat all on her own, and he said, excuse me, madam. He said, but could I be buying you a drink? So she said, well, now let's put our cards on the table straight away, Paddy. She said, I don't like to accept drinks under false pretences. She said, I'm a lesbian. He said, oh, no. He said, what's a lesbian? So she said, well, you see that blonde girl at the end of the bar with the big knockers? I'd like to take her home and strip her off, throw her on the bed and make mad, passionate love to her. He said, good God, I must be a lesbian as well. I've got a friend, Vera. Oh, she's lovely, Vera. And I was down the bus stop this morning, and actually we arranged to meet down there. And there was a woman at the bus stop. Oh, she was crying her eyes out. Oh, she looked terrible. She was in a terrible state. And you never like to sort of go over immediately to ask them what's wrong, because you get involved, don't you? But she was sobbing so hard. I mean, I had to go over in the end. I said, excuse me, love. I said, you look so upset. What on earth is the trouble? Oh, she said, my husband's been burnt. Oh, I said, not serious, I hope. She said, oh, they don't fuck about at the crematorium. I wished I'd asked now. And of course, I was talking to Vera, and you know what it's like in these sort of bus shelters. There were dozens of people waiting for the bus. And unfortunately, poor Vera, she passed wind. Well, it echoed round this bus shelter. Well, there was a real posh geezer and his wife stood in front of us, and he turned straight round and he said, how dare you fart before my wife? Oh, what? I'm sorry, we never knew it was her turn. So I properly upset Vera. So I said, don't worry about it, love. I said, I'll tell you what, when we get down to town, we'll do a bit of shopping. I said, we'll pop in for a meal, go into the pictures for a couple of hours. It'll cheer you up. We got in the pictures eventually. Oh, it's a beautiful film. And halfway through the film, I noticed this fella came in and sat next to Vera. 10 minutes later, she's digging me in the ribs. She said, Phil, that fella next to me's playing with himself. I said, well, ignore him. She said, I can't, he's using my hand. I said, well, move back 3 rows. She said, oh, do you think it will stretch that far? Because Vera's a good sport, you know. She's the type you can go on holiday with, you know. Last year we went to Spain. I didn't like it very much. But where we went, you know, hardly anybody ever spoke English, and I noticed everybody kept saying to me, Buenas noches, and I didn't know what they were talking about. So I was in this bar on this particular evening. I said to the barman, I said, excuse me, I said, what's all this buenas noches business? So he said, well, it's Spanish for good night. So I said, oh, that's how stupid of me. So on our way back from the bar that night, back to the hotel, I saw this fella walking towards me, so I thought, oh, be friendly, you know. So I said, buenas noches. He said, piss off, you Spanish bastard, you. Have you ever been in these hotels in Spain where there are dozens of German tourists? You can never get round that pool, can you? You can be out there at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's packed. Well, by the Thursday when we were there, I was determined. I got up when the lark was singing. I think it was a lark and it shit on me twice, I don't know. And I sat by that pool all on my own. Well, eventually it filled up. Well, I noticed stood next to me was this very, very attractive German fellow. I mean, he was good looking in the briefest of briefs, posing on the side, you know. I thought, well, I'm not looking, I had a quick shufty. And he sort of poked me with his toe, you see. So he said, you are English? I said, oh, you're terribly observant. So I said, yes, I am. So he said, I am German. So I said, yes, I had a feeling you might be. And he said, and we're very athletic. So I thought, I'm going to get a demonstration here. I know I am. Sure enough, he went up on the high diving board, jackknifed into the water, did 16 lengths of the bath, flicked out on the side. He said, how was that? I said, you've seen nothing yet. I thought, I'm not letting the British down. Well, I got up on that high diving board. I did 16 somersaults, completely by accident. Well, I did 32 lengths of that bath underwater. Come out on the side, I said, follow that, Fritz. He said, that is wonderful, honey, and where on earth did you learn to do 32 lengths of the bath and all underwater? I said, I used to be a prostitute in Venice and the police are so hot out there. But I love those trips out that they do when you're on holiday. I always go on the excursions. And you know, when we went to Tunisia, and they do these trips out just to the edge of the Sahara Desert. And I went on one, I was very interested. And we got to this little nomadic encampment full of tribesmen. And I happened to be talking to one of these Arabs, and he spoke quite good English. And I said, excuse me, I said, I've noticed, John, looking round, there are no women in the encampment. So he said, oh no, he said, when we are travelling in the desert, he said, the women do not come with us. So, you know, being a queen, I said to him, well, you know, I said, what do you do for sort of horizontal refreshment? So he said, every Friday at 6 o'clock, they bring 300 female camels into the encampment. I said, sure you don't cohabit with camels. He said, well, needs must in the desert, you know, when there is nothing else. Well, just that I looked at my watch and it was almost 6 o'clock. And all of a sudden I heard this voice, the camels are here, Well, he shot off this chair. I said, there's no need to hurry. I said, there's 300 of them. He said, I know, but you like to find a good-looking one, don't you? Thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Thank you.